Hi, this is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, and that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
Woo! You now rocking with One Nation Radio. Welcome to the program. James Boy, Richard Latta, and a couple friends with the show for your wrestling needs. Shopping out the rest of the IWC. We gon' tell her how it is. We gon' shoot from the hip. If they putting out trash, we gon' rip from the bits. Make sure that you tweet us and you rate the shows. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Now let's get it on the road. Hey. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports. One Nation Sports.
Welcome to One Nation Radio. And now here are your hosts, Rich Latta and James Boyd. And thank you for listening.
SocialSuplex.com. BWB, what's up?
This is Rawley, and this is One Nation Radio. You already know.
Welcome to the December 17th edition of One Nation Live. Almost went full botchamania here. This is Rich. I'm here with James. James, what's going on, man?
Not too much. Actually, decided to bring it in person as opposed to via satellite from Skype. So I'm here.
Yeah, man. So yeah, a couple things to talk about today. First on the docket, James, I blew up your phone. I want to say on Saturday night, maybe, or Friday night. Probably like 4:30 a.m. I was sending this stuff out.
Yeah, it was Friday night, Saturday morning, like 4, because I watched I actually watched a Friday at midnight viewing of The Last Jedi, and I just was so wired from the match or the movie that I couldn't go to sleep. Mm-hmm. So that I ended up like getting to my phone, like a bunch of texts or a bunch of messages sent to me. I was like, "What's going on?" I was like, "Really? The XFL? This dude really trying to like rekindle that thing?
Just throw money, just literally light money on fire, you know." I
mean, well, you know how they like to say it, like, they're making more money than they ever did in their best financial year. So of course that means it's all good and great to fuck off with it. So so here we go.
Yes, if you guys have not heard, there are rumors, and they may be a little bit stronger than rumors at this point, that Vince McMahon will be relaunching the XFL. And apparently it's not going to be the XFL in name. There was a trademark filed for the UFL, which stands for United Football League. There are folks on Twitter, all the jokes were happening, and I was definitely taking great delight in them, that this would be the Respect the Flag Football League. This would be the Salute for America Football League, the league for, the idea, like folks are speculating, those that may have been turned off by the protest during the national anthem, whatever, and that they want some football to watch too. But if they want to go ahead and watch that old mediocre football, even more mediocre than what the NFL is putting out, go right ahead, because I don't think it will work.
The thing for me is like before.
And there's rumors that it has Trump support, basically, with it. I
mean, cool, but like that still is not going to make people tune in and watch that bullshit. Like, it's not going to be good. Like, I'm pretty. It's been proven like there is only but so much football someone can watch, and then to add to that is like we have. The history of the XFL, and let's say they decide to run it like all the rules are exactly the same as the NFL, right?
Yeah.
Minus, because some of the talk, they'll let people hit each other in the head, which is like, yay, great, like
concussions,
like more potentially like potentially crippling hits. Great, that's what we love. It is a blood sport after all. So, like, you throw in that, and like, just ultimately, period, like, no one wants to watch minor league pro sports. Like, no one. Like, there's a reason why, like, wherever you are, unless, if you're in a smaller market, I can understand this, but, like, we have, we live in, like, I think the 15th biggest television market in the country. Right?
Uh-huh.
Right up the street from us, we have the AA affiliate for the Phillies. They call it the Clearwater Threshers.
Right.
You ever watch them on TV?
Never. The only
you ever watch the G League?
No.
NBA's Developmental League. You ever watch that?
No.
Do you ever watch NFL Europe when it was on?
Hell no.
There's a reason for that.
The only thing that could get me to a Threshers game would be Tuesday when they have the $1 beers. But I would not do that because it's during the summer, and if you drink outside during, I learned this lesson the hard way once. You drink outside during the summer in Florida, you are taking risks.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah. Like I've never even tried that. That just sounds dumb. Like especially when the summer here, like it's 85 degrees with the sun down. That's like, all right, good luck with that. And it's humid. Anyway, the thing for me is like I know people love to talk about, and I mean, there's a great point that the NCAA, they should pay their athletes, and they're 100% right. They should. However, they know as well as anybody else that the facade of if this actually becomes pro sports, it then becomes minor league pro sports, and people by and large are not sitting around to watch the second best. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There'll still be the ties to different communities, like on a local level, they want to watch their school or whatever.
Yeah.
Because they're such a huge part of the community wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
And typically, especially down here in the South where we are, like those are the only draws in town. Like me, you've always made a bunch of jokes. Like you go through like SEC towns, like what's cracking in Tuscaloosa? What's cracking? You know what I'm saying?
Not a damn thing.
Yeah, like what's cracking in what's cracking in Oxford? What's cracking in for example, Athens, Georgia? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the university is it. In a lot of these places, the show is, the pro team effectively is the college team because there is no pro team.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Bomani talked to us a lot about how after the we were getting besides the point. We're getting off.
Yep.
But we were digressing majorly. But,
all right. So
the
thing is, Vince McMahon is already having enough trouble as it is, keeping WWE compelling and keeping it good month to month. And they say he's spending his own money on this, and this isn't like the WWE money, whatever the fuck that means, because I thought it was Vince McMahon's money, but he's starting this league, and, no matter what, they say, he can do it. I mean, he's going to be having his attention diverted, essentially, from WWE, so, like, what do you think is the potential impact on the creative going forward? Like if this thing, if Vince has to dedicate I don't know, 6 months a year to this thing.
Well, the perverted dream is all right, Vince leaves and they let Hunter run the thing or whatever. But there's no way they're going to do that because we don't ever get to good things. We don't look, I think it's a big waste of money, and he's risking a lot, and he's overextending himself financially. But and it could possibly come back and affect WWE. But if I would learn that 6 months a year, Vince is kicking rocks and Hunter's taking over, and he has full reign. There's no Vince checking in and being make sure you do this over the next 6 months for this because I got to do this when you come back. When I come back, if we say he kicks rock 6 months, and we get kind of 3 hours or 5 hours of NXT kind of deal, then sign me up for that. Go ahead and even if it leads to the potential ruination of WWE in the long run because of financial losses on the other end, I'll be it'll be worth it. It'll be kind of the Star Wars movie, burn it all down, let go of the past.
Wow.
It doesn't matter, let it burn.
So one thing I do want to say, I don't know, James, if you saw the XFL 30 for 30 documentary.
I did not.
Okay, so there was a part at the end where they foreshadowed this shit, where they were saying do you think we would ever try something like this again? And then Vince McMahon and Dick Ebersol basically just looked at each other on some never say never shit. And this is a bad idea. This is a terrible idea.
Such a bad idea.
Vince, if you want to throw your money away, right, you can send it to Richard Latta, and I will post my address and a DM to you, Vince McMahon. This is what I would do. I'm not sure if Vince McMahon has an IG, right? But I will write the WWE IG, right? And I will say, if Vince McMahon would like to, light money on fire, I will give him my contact information, because it would just be better used just giving the money to me.
Yeah. Maybe. Honestly, me personally, it'd be better going up people's noses. All the millions of dollars would be better spent going up people's noses. At least they got some type of enjoyment out of it.
Yes.
Some people may die because there's a lot of cocaine, but whatever.
Yes. A couple comments. Dylan says, I bet you a dude is going to get his shoulder separated like the first game back in 2001. Joe Saba said, surprised he didn't call it the League of Nations.
Oh my god.
Oh man, they're and Vince doesn't really know football. That's the thing.
Exactly. There was always talks about people would hit him up, or people would walk up to him and be like, "Yeah, so but you see that Giants game?" They'd be like, "Oh," and he'd be like, "Oh." He doesn't know shit. He doesn't know shit in sports. That's always been the talk.
They'd be like, Vince, who's your favorite football player? He'd be like, Wahoo McDaniels.
Yeah, that's what it was. Wahoo McDaniel. Dude, Wahoo McDaniel ain't played in. What are you talking about?
Oh, shit. Moving off the XFL talk, tonight is Clash of Champions going down in just about an hour from now. Final thoughts on this show, James? I know we're not watching it live.
Oh, you should have did that. Y'all gonna talk about it but not watch it? What? Y'all too good to watch pay-per-view?
We will see it before the night's over.
Okay, fair enough. I don't really have too many thoughts that were I care about four things. I care about what happens in the women's Lumberjack match. As far as is there a cash in? What does that mean for? What will it mean for Charlotte and the Riot Squad? I care about that. I don't know. I was just actually when I got here, I was listening to you and Imp on Perfect 10,
mm-hmm.
and your the whole thing about you guys is basically we're trying to do a fuck it up challenge, basically.
Yes.
How can I book this shit as bad as it possibly can be, and then how will you book it right? And the funny part about it is the worst case scenario for the women's situation is probably for me, the most realistic thing they could possibly do. What's most likely to happen of all the things is perfectly, they cash her in, or they have her cash in, or sorry, she beats Charlotte like she's a nobody.
Natalya beats Charlotte,
and then Carmella goes to cash in, and then Carmella also gets beat after cash in. Why? Because she's been beat like a Cherokee drum since she ever won a damn briefcase. So why the fuck would she win?
Yeah. It would be really bad.
Look, they don't care. Look, they just beat Baron Corbin. They care a whole hell of a lot more about Baron Corbin than they do Carmella.
Oh man. I think they just have one thing to accomplish, and I don't care how it's done. AJ Styles needs to leave that building tonight with the WWE title, so this Jinder Mahal shit can finally end once and for all.
Oh, you need to be more civic. He needs to leave as champion, because there could be a situation where he gets fucked over and he beats Jinder's ass and leaves with the title, not champion.
Yes.
So you got to be civic with that. Be like, I gave you what you wanted, bitch. What's your problem, pal?
Yeah, man. AJ Styles needs to go ahead and handle my light work, so I can come back over the next couple weeks and fully, just bury this shit once for all and not take this negativity into 2018.
What if Jinder won the Royal Rumble?
Bro, that's been Dave's joke. He said, man, he's been saying Jinder Mahal's gonna win the Royal Rumble and then take Brock Lesnar to Punjabi Parkway.
Oh, get the hell out of here.
So. Shouts out to Dave. Man. So what else we got? Daniel Bryan, we get to figure out what the deal is with him.
Yeah.
He is the second special referee for the tag team match with Orton and Nakamura, which is a weird fucking team if I've ever seen one. And then Owens and Zayn. Do you think this should main event?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Jinder, and then it's it's Daniel Bryan.
They got gimmicks on top of gimmicks.
It's the commissioner. It's the GM. It's the number two acting the entire brand. It's a former 14-time champion.
13.
13-time champion. Yeah, it's So like you could easily explain it away as that. So I would say this though, if I was going to give Jenner the belt back, I put it on last in case people want to
riot.
Yeah, like throw rocks and stuff. Even I don't know where they find rocks. They
brought them with them.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah.
I mean, and obviously, because you have you think of like what was the most intriguing thing, either potentially intriguing thing happens from a storyline perspective for either one of those matches, and the tag match is clearly the top dog, top billing.
Yeah. One other thing I want to talk about, I actually listed it incorrectly. The pre-show match with Mojo Rawley and Zack Ryder. So, if you guys have not noticed on Twitter, Mojo Rawley has been setting Twitter on fire. These guys have been going back and forth, basically taking shots at each other, doing a much better build on Twitter than anything they'll get to do on TV.
Correct.
Mojo Rawley cut an epic promo on Zack Ryder, which can only be described as potentially star-making.
Is it star-making if it never sees the light of day?
That is the question. Dave Meltzer on Twitter was saying, what a great promo. If he can do this, why is he not doing promos every week on television? That's better than any promo.
Because if he goes on television, he'll get produced.
Yep.
They'll want to tell him what his story is.
Yep.
He'll have to convey that, and then it'll be inorganic. Like that's why.
Yep.
Like
the promo he cut, it was just full of intensity, full of like style, full of like just you can look in the guy's eyes and tell he believes this shit. It's better than any promo Gender cut this year. Yeah. And like this guy's like doomed to the pre-show. James, are you seeing what I was saying about Mojo Rawley at all?
I see that. My thing is, okay, so me and you have played basketball for growing up for years.
Yeah.
And me and you both know, and especially this comes into play because of how WWE is, with how they format everything and overproduce everything. Like, there is this huge, gigantic difference between playing pickup basketball and playing organized basketball.
Correct.
As far as the intensity and
the
being rough out there and everything else. So it's really it's a lot easier to play pickup. Like, you can play at your own pace. People aren't playing with the same intensity because there aren't points. Like, no one's really keeping correct score. There aren't people that are officiating it. And also, like, you ain't put in whatever you put in to get into your rec league, right?
Yep.
Or whatever else. Or AAU Bowl, what have you. So, like, it's kind of like the same thing where you would see Talking Smack and you would see Corbin. Except, obviously, this is way better than Corbin's ever done anything in life.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Sorry to be the jerk. Right, this dude's an NFL athlete. You know what I'm talking about? Like, he's trash, right? But you get my point.
That man's achieved nothing.
Right. So, but you look at that and you just think, wow. Like, I understand that they decided to go with scripting everybody for promos, except for the people that they deem trustworthy enough to not, because it basically raises the floor on they're making sure there aren't any things that are complete disasters, unless they're disaster few and far between.
Right.
However, like, you get, like, we were going to rate promos on the star level, you get consistent, like, 1.5, 2-star promos all the time, and unless it's John Cena completely bombarding somebody, or Stephanie cutting somebody down and making sure that they'll never draw a dive. They'll never draw a dive again. They'll never draw a dive in 6 months from now. Like, unless it's Paul Heyman. Pretty much for the most part, like, you rarely ever get to those 4.5-star level promos that are just ultimately memorable, and like, you look at it and it's like, I'll remember that, like, when I'm old and gray. And that's one of the give and take of that situation. And I wish, like they said, I wish this was more prominent on the card, because maybe they do, maybe they don't go exactly the same thing, but he gets to say a lot of the same things or whatever, instead of having to literally hold his phone up to his face and shout into his own phone, like, while he's in a garage.
Yeah. some people were saying on Twitter, it said, would he even be allowed to look into the camera during the interview or promo if this was on television?
Nope. They always have people looking up to the side, which makes me always think like they're looking at cue cards.
But I remember that one time Strowman was just like staring off in the distance.
Like the one meme that they always have of, oh my god, commissioner of NXT, British.
Regal.
Yeah, Regal. I can't believe I blanked on Steve Regal's name. William Regal.
Yep.
Sorry, gimmicks.
WCW.
Yeah, gimmicks. But William Regal, like, there's a classic meme of him like looking off into space, like they always do when they say looking into the camera,
right.
where he's looking off his space, and they always say like, "I too once dreamed of fill in the blank," and it's like so they've done that to death, which is always stupid because like you watch any sporting event or whatever where they have interviews. And either the person, the human being that's getting interviewed, either A, looks at the person that's asking them the question and then / holding the microphone, or they stare off because they're aware that there's a cameraman holding a camera.
Yeah. So this guy so hopefully they have a good match and hopefully he starts his wrestling ability starts to catch up to what we saw in that promo. And, maybe they actually get somebody to pluck out of the undercard that actually may be worth a damn one day. Cody Rhodes.
One can dream.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes. This guy was the Ring of Honor champion. He lost the title to...
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he ended up losing the belt to Dalton Castle. So Dalton Castle is your new Ring of Honor champion. Cody Rhodes showed up...
You think they're going to have a match at... Or is the whole card out for Wrestle Kingdom?
Whole card's out for Wrestle Kingdom. Cody's fighting Ibushi already. So, the deal with Cody, he showed up to Ring of Honor looking like Stan. And if you don't know what Stan I'm talking about, there is only one Stan worth a damn, with all apologies to Van Gundy. He looked like he was writing, Dear Slim, I know I wrote you, but you still ain't calling.
Dear Mr. Opsy Goodness.
Yes, to call and write my fans.
This will be the last time you ever see your ass.
Yep. He also, people said he looked like a Backstreet Boy. He looked like an NSYNC guy. He looked like...
hold on, bro. We're going to have to stop this right now. You sent me that and I messaged you at the time. I look, bro, that man does not look like Justin. He don't look like JC. He don't look like Lance. He don't look like Chris. He don't look like Joey. I'm not here for this NSYNC slander. I'm not here for it. And on the other end, like Backstreet Boys is cool either, but that man don't look like AJ or Howie or Brian or Kevin. I'm blanking. Yeah, like nah. You don't like or Nick Carter. He don't like none of them.
Yeah, man. All these Cody Rhodes memes are taking over the Twitter sphere. People said he looks like Chris Candido with with blonde hair. He looks like Dustin the Natural Rhodes.
Wow. Yeah, they had the nerve. They had the nerve to say that man looks like he's a space cowboy. Nah, get out of here.
Something I thought that was funny. I actually tweeted this out. Was this has to be a posthumous L for Dusty Rhodes?
Go ahead. Go with this. Go ahead. I'm listening.
All right. So Dusty Rhodes and Ric Flair had this blood feud. They broke Dusty's leg. They put Dusty Rhodes on hard times, daddy. And young, like, I don't know if Cody was born then, right?
He was not.
Okay, but this has to hurt Dusty Rhodes' spirit to see when his son became a main eventer, finally, and champion, that he grew up to want to emulate Ric Flair. What kind of shit is that, James?
I mean, I get the part where like he dressed like he has money because he does, because like he spent a long time in WWE as a lower mid tier guy or whatever, so he has more money than like the geeks he's wrestling. Like I get that, but like to go as far as saying he's Ric Flair, like I mean, you tell me the time
he done dyed his hair blonde, trying to be like Nate.
Well, you tell me the time Ric Flair showed up on television with his wife. As opposed to talking about he's going to ride Space Mountain with like all the women. Like Jay, it was kind of funny how we talk about this as far as limited gimmick and everything. But Ric Flair pretty much showed like, and we always talk about this, like Muhammad Ali and Ric Flair and a bunch of other people, kind of like, and James Brown were like the kind of like founding fathers for what hip hop for a lot of people, right? So Ric Flair, like being married and then like going on TV, like being married, having a family, raising kids, and then like going on TV and then talking about like all the sex he's gonna have with a bunch of other women. Like there's nothing more hip hop than that. Like think about all the married dudes in rap from like the 90s, whatever else that did like they tried to like they started a family, like especially like Dr. Dre, right? Yeah. After he starts a family and he brings out that Aftermath Volume 2 or whatever, or whatever it was, and like it didn't work. It's like, look, Dre, he's like, I'm a family man. I can't be talking about blunts, big screen bitches, and condoms and all other stuff. I can't talk about it no more. And it's like, nah, bro, you kind of need to make this work. Like you kind of like,
it's part of the gimmick.
You kind of had like you kind of created this gangster rap thing. Like we kind of want to hear gangster rap, and then like next thing you know, like. So right back at it on Dre 99. So like yeah. Anyway, but back to Ric Flair.
So there was something else that came out of this. There was the Ring of Honor show. I'm not sure if you saw the message that Jeremy sent with Jim Cornette, basically threatening to saying he would slap the life out of everyone.
Is it an angle? You think it's an angle?
No, this is not. It's actually not Cornette. This is a segue into it. So there was a match between like Flip Gordon and the Young Bucks, and I want to say someone else was in there. I'm not sure, but there was this whole sequence of guys missing double drop kicks. Like, and then triple misses of the drop kicks, like, and it led to the UFC fighters starting to tweet about wrestling and everything like that, and we got probably the most high-profile beef to come out of it. There was one guy that tweeted about it and said, basically, grown men watch this, and then one of the Young Bucks retweeted them and said, now grown men know who you are by me retweeting this. And then Daniel Cormier and Cody Rhodes got into it. So Cormier said, this is actually pathetic. This is what people want to see. They go to a goddamn gymnastics competition. Suplex, body slam, pile driver, do some old school wrestling, man. DDT. I remember when the Frankensteiner was the most you ever see someone flip. I say boo to this BS. Then Cody Rhodes responded with a quote tweet. It's not pathetic. The paying audience enjoyed it. UFC is thriving and pro wrestling has been going strong since 1920. Besides, most of y'all ask Hunter for a job when the wheels fall off anyway, and most are on the comp list as staples. So lay the fuck off. Like, so victory for Cody Rhodes right there, I would say. Personally,
I don't know, like because one thing is what he said is, for me, as far as Cormier is concerned, somebody is like, I'm not about this Cormier life at all. Like, he's correct. He is not the guy. Like, he is so not the guy. He is the person that like you beat in the storyline. He is an obstacle. He's not actually the protagonist in the shit. But anyway, he did show an appreciation for wrestling at a time when he watched it, and then said, like, what the hell has happened to this thing? Which leads me to believe, like, there actually is a legitimate criticism to it, as opposed to just somebody just shouting down on something that they just don't like because they want to be like, look, that's not cool. Like, let's gang up and, like, and jump on this thing on saying all this stuff isn't cool. Now, as far as, whether or not his criticism, regardless of whether it's legitimate, like, was it sincere? Like, I think it was sincere. Like, was it legitimate? I mean, not really. But, that's how it all is when, like, with all the friends you have. Think all the people that, like, used to watch wrestling when they were kids, whatever. What did they say when you told them that you watch wrestling now or whatever else? They were like, I used to watch it. It was better than whatever. That's a part of it. So, like, it comes with the territory for me almost.
So another cool thing about it was, like, since the Young Bucks were involved with that, Dash Wilder of the Revival started getting involved with it. He said, "Hey, Daniel Cormier, let me know where to send your Revival shirt." Oh, God. And he was like,
Daniel Cormier would be like, who?
Right. And then and Scott Dawson was like, what a guy Daniel Cormier is. He has a keen eye for talent in this business. I'm sure he has a future here when he's ready. Then Wilder was like, yeah, let us know next time you need your comp tickets. And then Cormier basically said, you guys are awesome, but I'm damn near 40 years old. I couldn't wrestle if I wanted to, but I'll definitely be in the arena supporting the Revival next time y'all are in California. And Cormier also said, in response to Rhodes, I do ask for comps. I am a fan. I didn't say anything about the sequence of the match. Just be careful, bud. I've been a fan of yours too, but be careful. Lay off the cuss words. It's not that serious, and I won't need a job. I'll be good.
Another part is like what Cody is. Cody don't wrestle like that. Like Cody is like pretty much caping for his homeboys.
Right.
They do all that ridiculous shit. I mean ridiculous in not in a pejorative term. Like, yeah, the shit is ridiculous. Like, they're like flipping over people and all this.
Bro, I like flips, bro.
I mean, I do too. Like, you got to realize some of the stuff is like, okay. Like, I mean, I'm not okay, but like some of the stuff just like, all right, this is a shot to the system for anybody that's not like accustomed to this.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw. I'm trying to think, who was it?
Sin Cara?
No, when I saw the was it Best Super Juniors or was it between Ricochet and Ospreay?
Best Super Juniors.
Best Super Juniors. When I saw like that opening sequence, like, bro, this is like some shit out of like the way they landed. I was like, this is like some shit out of like a Marvel film or out of like a DC would probably made it not as good, but whatever. You know my point.
Wow.
Like, it's like what? Like, this isn't, and then people, like Vader would tell, like, this is a wrestling this is a routine. This is like a floor exercise. This isn't a wrestling match. It's like, I mean, I understand why people like feel that way because it kind of feels like something that they love or something that they used to love or whatever else is kind of being like changed or whatever.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, and being a hip hop artist and all that, definitely there's a lot of similarities in that sense. Like
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
Yeah, man, you gotta chill with that, bro. You might cause him to get a stream off of saying that many times on this shit. Yeah. So like,
I have a question for the Lil Pump for the Gucci Gang song. Tell me, you know how like you're in production, you know this. Like, we've always like you mute out tracks. When you track out a beat or whatever, you hear plenty of songs when they pause out there. They basically cut out the beat and then bring it back when there's audio.
Yeah. For
somebody when the audio is supposed to make some type of emphasis, impact or whatever, like a punchline at the end or whatever else. Tell me why on the seventh time he says Gucci Gang, they actually pause out like it's supposed to be important. I don't understand. What was so important about the seventh one? Why is the seventh one so important? It's like the beats, like you'll hear it again. Say you probably will never hear it now after I tell you.
I will never understand. Like if you're asking me for answers about Lil Pump, I have none.
Oh, I don't have any questions for Lil Pump.
Okay.
Like Lil Pump is one
analysis,
song for me.
Yeah,
if he comes on another song, good for him. Like, but that's not my
analysis.
That is not my cup of tea at all.
I offer nothing. So tell me about this. Tell me about this Black Thought freestyle. I know we're getting a little sidetrack from wrestling, but like I said, there's not that much in wrestling this week. But tell me about the Black Thought freestyle. Why you thought it was so incredible?
It was incredible. Like he touched on.
For those that haven't heard it.
Like, it's 9 minutes of, like, really, really good rapping in one take, which is, like, I think people take that so much for granted.
Yes, and that was the first thing I said, like, pretty much, like it was, like, the raps was good, but the fact he sat there and performed that, and then he was wearing that hot-ass, like, hat and coat and everything like that. Like,
I don't think people have an idea, people that, do any type of, like, writing, they have an idea of how hard it is to write. They don't have an idea of They might not have an idea of how hard it is to write and rhyme in structure. Like, the thing about, like, Black Thought, and this is somebody, like, for the record, like, I'm not a Roots fan. I've heard a few Roots songs. I never really decided to get into discography, or at least not yet. That whole kind of, like, thing has never really been my style. But in the songs I did hear from Black Thought, I always thought, like, that dude's a really good rapper. A really good rapper. And it's kind of striking that at a time now where, like, all the adults, it's kind of fun, like, the adults that are still around, like, they're really good rappers. They kind of stuck around, and, like, now, like, we got younger guys, like, we do have J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar and Drake or whatever else, and whoever else you want to throw in there.
Me.
That are really good, that are really good at rapping,
yeah,
or whatever. But the stuff that they do on records is not. I mean, except for like Jake or Drake in particular. Like the fact that Drake's a really good rapper, that's like nice. That's not like what Drake is doing, and that's not pretty much what was made Drake a superstar. Like the singing songs and the sensitivity and like the sound design of all the lo-fi sound, like, that is what got him over and made him a superstar. Like, the fact that he also does occasionally, like, really rap, like, that's great. But that's not what's having these people, like, flock his shows like that. But there was a time, like, in the time that we grew up on, where, like, either you had to be really freaking good at rapping, or really, like, off the walls, like Hulk Hogan level charismatic, or you were able to put together an incredible slate of songs or whatever because you had an ear like a producer, like a great producer, or what have you, to make it work.
Right.
So, like, you either had to kind of be like Nas, or you kind of had to be like
Cameron,
like Pimp C or Cameron or whoever else, or you had to be like Diddy to make it work for you in the late 80s, early 90s, and maybe whatever else, right? To actually make it. And now it's less so that, like, if you can put a song together, a catchy song together, like, you will get some run here, you can make some money, and that's fine. Like, ultimately, like we were talking about earlier about, we were talking about going out there playing pickup ball or whatever, and one or whatever else, and then organized sports, like being able to structure a song. Like, we kind of lose, a lot of us that from that old guard, like, we kind of lose the fact that, like, they made a catchy song, like.
What else?
Yeah, they like, yes, he's like the 1000th best. He's like the 1000th best rapper in the world, but, like, he put together a good song, and, like, ultimately that's what plays on the radio, not your freestyles or whatever else. We kind of get lost in that at times. So, but, like, to hear Black Thought go out, but the less and less you hear that, the more you get an appreciation of somebody from the old guard that can still go, and is still incredible. And the fact that he's from the old guard where, I remember, I can't remember what it was, but it was like it was Andre. It's like, I think it was behind the music thing of Outkast or whatever else. Back when they did those, and they were talking about how they would perform their songs while, like, going for runs, like jogging,
right? So
that they would have the wind to be able to perform.
I heard that, with
adrenaline and everything else going on with them on stage. And there's something to be said about, like, the live aspect of. I know I have this and I can perform. Like, I know you're not much of a Busta Rhymes fan, but the fact that dude can rap how he raps and always put on one of the best performances in live audiences, like, that was a part of, like, the guard of being able to really rap. You can't be out there. Ain't no one my fault, let me redo it. Nah, bro, you got one shot to do this, and he killed it. He ripped it. Like. And the thing about it is, like, it was so precise. You could hear every single word. He didn't stumble over anything. Like, and he was just basically in it, just intense for 9 minutes, and he was killing it lyrically. Like, like, that is you don't see that anymore. Like, it's not something that you see often at all. For 9 minutes, like, you might see that for 64 bars. You don't see that for 9 straight minutes. And he blew up on Twitter.
Yeah, I pretty much saw the same thing. I was just like, woo, like, the whole time listening to it, it just was inspiring. In my case, because it's just like, man, that just makes me want to rap. So, but that's gonna wrap it up for One Nation Live. Hope you guys enjoy Clash of Champions. Find something to enjoy about it. We will actually be recording with Chad Matthews this week twice. We're going to be reviewing the year in pay-per-view. So it's kind of like a 3-part end of the year wrap up. So we're going to be doing the pay-per-view review January through June, which will be coming out on Chad's show on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we will be releasing July through December with that. And that will be going live on the LOP radio network. And then we will be back with the 2017 Fuck Outta Here draft during Christmas week. And then we will be back with the One Nation Radio Awards. So And make sure you guys check out all the other shows on the Social Suplex Podcast Network. You guys can listen to the SMC podcast with Caleb, Carl, and Rance. And you can check out Keeping It Strong Style with Jeremy and Josh, who'll be talking about New Japan, and also the Ricky and Clive Wrestling Show, our Scottish export. I heard Ricky lost his mind this week on gender, so I actually have to check that out. So make sure you guys are dropping us good ratings, and we appreciate every listen. So that's going to wrap it up for now, but we will be back later. But yeah, anything you got, James, before we get up out of here?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I would love to know what people think about the Star Wars that are in our group. Like what they thought of the Last Jedi. Like, I personally, I loved it.
James about to try to get me to watch this shit, y'all.
I mean, they're only like, whatever. Like, everybody has their thing that they just don't do. Like, you don't like sci-fi, whatever, fine. Like, I'm really more or less whatever. That's possible. This is a conversation for off air, but yeah, like. I loved it. I thought it was the most Star Wars movie as far as like if you're talking about the light and the dark and of the Force or whatever. Like this is like finally explaining like as far as balance, like where the gray is. It's not just always black and white and like Darth Maul and Vader and evil baddies and then like just basically white knights like. They're explaining like it's Star Wars, like there are prices and consequences to war and people that profit off of war, and I thought it was really good, and I love how they basically expanded on talking about the Force. Like I'm glad they got away from metachlorians and actually went with what we always wanted to be, which is like supernatural type stuff. I love the movie. Like I've heard some of the gripes about it. Like there's one that I'm kind of like agree with, but other than that, like I love this movie so much more than like some of the flaws in it. Like it was great. Like it might be my favorite Star Wars movie.
Man, so he's about to show that to someone who's like never really watched this stuff. So maybe we should do a show and I can give my thoughts on it and whatever other fake stuff we about to watch. So, but yeah, that's going to wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening. Peace.
Later.